Hello, everybody. This is Nicky from Yoga Marlborough, Ancients Best here in Blenheim. And this is bringing you another little episode of our lockdown inspiration, tips, talks, and upliftment from yoga teachers around the top of the South. And today I'm really lucky to have with me the lovely Leisha MacKenzie. So Leisha is a yoga teacher here in Blenheim. And Leisha teaches a couple of mornings a week. She has Monday and Thursday mornings out at Renwick. Hopefully I get this right. And Wednesday and Thursday nights here in Blenheim itself. And at the moment, Leisha is also a homeschooling mum because we're in lockdown, and she has an 8-year-old and a 9-year-old, and all the challenges around entertaining them, teaching them, juggling work with her own small vineyard as well. So there's a lot on her plate. And I think she's even, Leisha, have you tried a Zoom class as well? Maybe Leisha, you can just, tell us a bit about your lockdown. How's it going?
My lockdown's going okay at times, to be honest. Some days they're not going very well at all, but some days I feel like I'm on top. So it's just a real mixed bag, to be honest. The kids definitely throw a bit of a mix into a day at home, kind of quite confined feeling.
What do you think is hardest for them, as for the kids?
We're lucky that we've got a lot of space around us. So in terms of moving and physical and that kind of thing, I think they're fine. I think they're really missing that social connection with their kids, probably, especially my daughter, who's almost 10, and my son, who's 8. He just wants to be a boy with his mates and silly and do all that kind of stuff, which I don't really like to see.
Yeah, it is hard for them, isn't it? It's a long time. It's a few weeks already, isn't it?
It's loud and and intense is probably a good way to put it. Loud and intense. Yeah, I'm probably the social one the unsocial one of the family. My husband's very social, but I like it quite calm and quiet and on my own terms. So this is a challenge and a learning curve for me, just to have it 24 hours with no break.
Someone said that to me the other day too. They said, oh, the house has got crowded since lockdown. And I said, how come it's got crowded? And she said, oh, because my husband's at home all the time because I'm usually on my own. So that felt crowded to her.
Like he's upstairs doing his work, talking to quite important people on the phone, and the kids are having a tantrum in the background. I'm like, shh, 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 because I don't want them to see or hear us at the same time. So it is a little bit more extra pressure because you're trying to manage everyone to be okay at the same point of time.
Isn't that the mum's job too? You're trying to do your own things, and you've got your own classes to think about and your own business, your own business too. And yet you're trying to balance and keep everyone else happy and looked after. I don't think you're alone in this. And you said you did try a Zoom class. How did you find that? How did your students like it?
So I tried to teach a Zoom yoga class last night, and we had about 8 people attending, which was really good. But a lot of them hadn't done a Zoom meeting before either. So that took a while for us to get all the techno stuff sorted and for us to actually start. And then I've only done the budget version at this stage, which is the 40 minutes free, I think. So I got this tick down, like, you've got 20 minutes left, you've got 10, you've got 5. And I'm like, oh, we need to kind of get moving. But I had a lot of feedback from the people that attended, and they liked it. And it was just fun to see someone else's face besides the people in your bubble too. And we had a bit of a laugh. So I would definitely try again, but hopefully we could go back to level 2 and do some kind of form of our own version of yoga with those restrictions for level 2.
Yeah, I guess it'll be, I'm not sure what the restrictions are, but it might be around spacing, mightn't it? So, which will be challenging because I have quite a small space. So if I have a full class, I won't be able to space them out. So it might stop me from teaching for a bit longer. Yeah. Leisha, today, I wanted to also ask you, you said you had your students on Zoom and there's a bit of technological problems, but apart from that, how are they coping? Are people seeming to be quite resilient, or are they feeling a bit isolated, or what are you hearing?
A mixture, because again, a range of different people in a yoga class. So we have some people that are still essential workers that are going into stock supermarket shelves or working for the council, or they work in a place that services cars for like the police. So those types of people are still working. Other people are at home and living in town, and so just doing the walk around the block type thing. But on a whole, I felt that everyone was quite positive last night, and I think it was nice to see each other, and maybe that's why people were smiling and having a laugh, because it was something different compared to the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, I think so. I think seeing people's faces and eyes and smiles, and it makes a massive, massive difference. It's part of the reason why I wanted to do this as well, just to sort of, throw a little something in people's day where they got to meet some of us, and we got to catch up with each other, and we got to share some practices, and also just let them know that we're here. We haven't run away anywhere. Yeah.
And then actually another friend of mine who comes to class, she just put out to me the other day, because I was quite worried about doing the yoga Zoom class, because I knew there would be distractions in the background. I knew there would be, because it was dinner time downstairs. We live in an open plan house, so there isn't much rooms just to shut and lock yourself out, although I have done that a few times at moments. So a friend also she reminded me, she said, this is life, Leisha, like people are experiencing the same thing on a different kind of scale in their houses. So deal with it, get over it. This is what it is. So that was actually a real nice little pep talk for me too. Like just do the yoga. Like it doesn't matter. Yeah. Life happens in the background. Exactly.
And that's what yoga is also about, isn't it? It's about moving from moment to moment with whatever is happening in that moment. And it can be messy.
It can be. All loud.
Absolutely. Did you have something maybe you wanted to show us or share, or something for the watchers?
So I find Tadasana, mountain pose, a really good grounding pose, and I have come to depend on that a few times, especially in the first week. This week I haven't had to use it as much. It's a mental pose for me. While physically we're standing still, it doesn't feel like we're doing much physically, but so it's a good tune in mentally if you can really kind of get into the zone. And I think a lot of people don't tune in enough mentally, so they kind of think I'm just standing here with my arms to the side, like I'm not doing anything. But if you can get into the power and feel the energy coming through your body and breathe, like it's a really empowering pose. So yeah, Tadasana is my thing. I'm going to stand up. Hopefully we can go with.
Okay, I'm going to put you on the full screen so that everyone can see you a bit easier.
So it's just me and the cow behind me.
You and the cow, yeah.
So I like to start with a couple of nice deep breaths, breathing in and out of the nose. I'm rolling onto my toes, lifting up and onto my heels, and just kind of getting that feeling of my balance throughout the sole of my foot. And then I'm going to stop and plant myself down. And then my hands come down to the sides, and I like to just roll my arms up. So my palms are like that. And then just drop them down. That's comfortable. Perfect. So you have that length throughout your shoulders, and you feel like your fingertips are going towards the ground. And then my feet, I like teaching this with my feet a comfortable hip distance apart. So I'll just do this. Something like that. Did you see some feet?
Yep.
And then if you can close the eyes down, then it comes into the mental side. So if you feel comfortable, eyes closed, or if you don't feel comfortable with eyes closed, just bring your gaze down to a spot on the floor in front of you. I'm going to start by doing some nice deep breaths in and out of the nose. If you can, breathing in for 4 and exhaling for 8. And you're going to do that for a wee while, just maybe another 3 rounds, in for 4 and out for 8. So hopefully you're just feeling a bit more calmer and a bit more grounded just by intentional breath. And then you're going to use your imagination. So you've got these beautiful feet, and I want you to spread them out nice and wide through the floor. And from your hips down, you're going to imagine that you are a trunk of a tree. So from your hips down, you're sending with your exhale energy out through your legs, through your feet, and down to the center of the earth. And we all know that trees have these beautiful network, huge system of roots. So as these energy lines, if you like, these roots that you're imagining growing down, is kind of anchoring you down to the ground. And you've got maybe 1,000 different branches coming off. So really make that network mental nice and deep. And you can feel yourself getting heavy and anchored down. You feel that pulling, a gentle pulling you down. And it feels nice and calming. And then you're going to imagine the torso and the head is like a helium balloon tied to a fence. So you've got this lift coming up through the crown of your head. Something's just gently lifting you up through your hips and through your spine. So each vertebrae feels slightly higher and longer, but you've still got that attachment, that pulling you back, just grounding you down. So you've got this feeling of lifting through the crown of your head, but anchoring through all parts of your feet. And just sit with that for a few more breaths. So it pays just to stay mentally focused with your exhale, shooting that energy, those invisible tree roots down into the ground. And then I also like to kind of build my arms into it as well. So I imagine that my arms and my fingers are guy ropes, like you're camping, a guy rope attached to the ground as well, with some tent pegs, if you like. So that's also anchoring you down. And you feel those shoulder blades coming down from the ears with a nice long neck. And then you go back to the breath, in for 4, out for 8. And now you think of a mountain. Okay, and all those thoughts that come with you with a mountain: immovable, dependable, sturdy, stable. So an essential part here is that you've made your own mountain. And if you can just sit with it for another minute or two, maybe a few more breaths if you can, and just feel that feeling coming through your body now, that feeling maybe of acceptance, definitely grounded, definitely feeling mentally more stable and connected. And just letting your body soften. And just gently close the fingers now and just let your hands hang normally. You might want to just rub your fingers or squeeze fists. And then maybe blinking your eyes a few times and letting the eyes remain open. And then if you like to, just stay here for a moment. Maybe just a breath is all you need. And if you'd like to just come back onto the toes and back to the heels again, just to bring some movement back into the body nice and gently. Namaste.
Oh. Wonderful, Leisha. Thank you so much. I practiced that with you. The viewers won't be able to see me, but I really felt after getting that stability and then that feeling of sort of moving upward and downward at the same time made me feel really spacious. And I like that one with the, what do you call them, guy ropes?
The guy ropes through the fingers.
I like that because it also made me realize the energy around me, you know, so that I don't, you know, my energy extends all the way to the earth and it extends all around me, you know, so I could really feel that. And then the mountain, I was just thinking magnificent and, you know, really, strong. So I think it's really grounding, a really grounding practice.
So if that doesn't work, you could always pour a gin and tonic because that has also helped at times.
It's really funny. I had a breathing class a week or so ago, and one of my students, she comes to like all the classes, and it got right to the time of the class, and she said, no, the wine won. It was Friday, I think, and she'd had a big week.
Yeah, and that's life too, isn't it? You know, like, don't be a martyr, don't be a tyrant. Like, if you need it, these are different times. Don't just go with the flow. Yeah,
I think it's exactly right. Don't be guilty. Do things fully. You know, do things fully. Do them with enjoyment. You know, moderation is maybe a good word to throw in there in all things. You know, so sometimes we just need to go with what feels the best thing for us that's going to make us feel the best in that moment.
At the moment, yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much, Leisha, for sharing that with us today. I'm going to share your contact information when I share this video so that if people would like to reach out to you, they can find you.
It'll be lovely.
Okay.
Bye, everyone. Hope you enjoyed this. Namaste.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Leisha.